You're watching News Channel 5 Weekend.
And right now, a live picture from Berlin, Vermont. One day after the murder of a DCF worker in Barrie, 3 female relatives of the alleged Barrie shooter found dead in this Berlin home with apparent gunshot wounds. Plus, tragedy in the air. A fiery Adirondack plane crash claims the lives of 4 people. The latest from investigators. We're following breaking news out of central Vermont. Police confirmed that 3 women found dead in this home in Berlin this morning are family members of the woman suspected of killing a Vermont social worker. Jody Herring is accused in the murder of Lara Sobel, a DCF employee gunned down outside her Barrie office yesterday. Officials say Herring was distraught over DCF's handling of a case in which she was involved. This morning, 3 of her relatives were found dead in a Berlin home. Investigators are now trying to piece together exactly what happened. WPTZ's Rachel Kars joins us now live in Berlin with what she's learned about the investigation. Rachel.
There's been constant police activity all throughout the afternoon here at this Berlin home where police say they found 3 women dead inside. A woman called 911 after discovering the 3 women. When police arrived, they found shell casings at the scene and what looked like gunshot wounds on 2 of the women. Police say the 3 women are related to Jody Herring, the woman who shot and killed Lara Sobel last night. Sobel was a DCF worker who had been involved in a case back in July involving Herring's 9-year-old daughter, who is currently in state custody. Jody Herring was tackled and taken into police custody last night. Police have not said if they are searching for a suspect or if one is already in custody. We spoke to a man on scene who said he was the cousin of a woman who lived inside the home. He says the news has rocked their tight-knit family.
That shocked me, and give me absolutely crazy. I'm not a real religious person, but I try to serve the people and help out people, love people, everybody, help out everywhere I can. Things like that just knock the socks off me.
Officers aren't releasing the names of the victims and say the bodies will be sent to the medical examiner for an autopsy. As for today's shooting, police aren't naming any suspect. We will be sure to update you on air and online at WPTZ.com. But for now, live in Berlin, Rachel Kars, WPTZ News Channel 5.
And Rachel, Governor Peter Champlain issued the following statement on the discovery today in Berlin. Vermonters should know that there is no indication of a broader threat at this time to state employees or the general public. And in the coming days, we will need to pull together as a state to come to terms with these heinous events. My heart goes out to all the families, friends, and loved ones who may have been affected by these tragedies. And presidential candidate Bernie Sanders also issued a statement following the tragedies over the past 2 days. He said today is a tragic day for Vermont. In the past 24 hours, a public servant was murdered and 3 other Vermonters were killed in circumstances that are not yet clear. My thoughts and prayers are with the victims' families and friends. We will continue to follow this case as it develops, including the latest on the investigation and comments from Governor Peter Champlain's news conference tonight. Meantime, check out video of the scene from Barrie. Stay with WPTZ on air and online at WPTZ.com for the very latest information. And we are also following a developing story out of the Tri-Lakes region of New York. A deadly plane crash near Saranac Lake has claimed the lives of 4 people. A single-engine plane crashing near the Adirondack Regional Airport in Lake Clear last night. WPTZ's Jared Hill joins us live from the airport with the very latest on the investigation. Jared, fill us in.
Well, George, investigators got on scene out here earlier this morning to really start to take a look at exactly the circumstances around the plane that crashed. But now, just a few hours after it did, nearly 24 hours after that plane did go down, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Take a look. Investigators geared up Saturday morning to continue probing the scene around a plane that crashed near Adirondack Regional Airport, killing all 4 people on board Friday evening.
Most of the plane was still intact in one piece but burned. With the exception of the propeller had separated and was found nearby the scene.
An investigator with the National Transportation Safety Board says the plane crashed shortly after it took off, just before 6, likely headed to Rochester, where it's registered.
Our best guess right now it's 3/4 of a mile northwest of the airport in a wooded area.
It was the smoke that led New York State Environmental Conservation Rangers to the wreck. Investigators say they'll spend days combing through the scene before removing and storing the plane.
We are looking at the pilot, the machine, and the environment. And by the pilot, I mean overall and recent experience.
The airport doesn't have a control tower, instead uses a system where pilots announce themselves. A member of the ground crew did see the plane take off.
Saw the pilot start up, do the run up, and announce the takeoff on runway 5. Did not hear any emergency distress call or anything like that.
Now, the NTSB and other investigators are going to be out here at least for the next few days, looking once again at the area around the plane before it is removed. In terms of reports and actual hard information as to what happened here, that could take quite a while. There's expected to be a preliminary report put on the NTSB's website within the next few days, possibly a week or so. But in terms of a final report, that could take somewhere between 6 months and 12 months. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on any developments that happen out here. For now, live in Lake Clear, Jared Hill, WPTZ, News Channel 5.
Thank you, Jared. Right now, New York State officials are deploying 150 workers to the Bronx to test cooling towers for traces of Legionnaires' disease. This after the bacteria was found in 5 buildings in the South Bronx. 10 people in all have died. 101 have been sickened during the largest outbreak in New York City history. Thursday, Governor Cuomo announced free Legionella testing for owners, operators, managers, and landlords of buildings with cooling towers or evaporative condenser units that can be sources of this bacteria. The disease is spread through mist from a contaminated water source and can be treated with antibiotics, but only if caught early. And lending a hand, 20 New York State workers and volunteers are headed west to fight wildfires. Governor Andrew Cuomo said today the group of Department of Environmental Conservation employees and the volunteers will fly to California, Oregon, and Washington State with other crews. The western wildfires have covered more than 200 square miles in 3 states. The Empire State crews are expected to be there for about 2 weeks. Closer to home, a new state board set up to implement Vermont's new clean water law sets its first meeting. On September 8th, the board will discuss how to best use the money from the newly created Clean Water Fund at Montpelier's National Life Complex. Turning to the weather, a nearly perfect Saturday, comfortable temperatures, plenty of sunshine. Meteorologist Gib Brown is in the Weather Center with a first look at your forecast. Hey, Gib.
Yeah, George, I'd have to agree. It was a great day. We saw a lot more in the way of cloudiness, though, as we approached the afternoon hours. Really no precipitation falling anywhere, but that may change tomorrow for some. First, let's take a look at the conditions out there right now. As you can see, Rutland, Potsdam up to Clarkson University, lots of clouds in the sky right now. Those clouds are going to hang in there pretty tough tonight, which means that our temperatures are not going to fall as much as they did last night. Storm Tracker 5000 showing some echoes across the region. Now, much of this activity is not getting to the ground because there's a huge difference between the afternoon temperature and the dew point. So the air is very dry, so we're not expecting to see any precipitation coming our way. And as you can see, this system in the middle of the atmosphere is kind of breaking apart and losing any strength that it once had. But overall, we're going to be dealing with some moisture as we get you into the early part of next week. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. 72 right now with mostly cloudy skies in Burlington. If you're going to be stepping out tonight, a great night out there. Mostly cloudy skies for the most part. Temperatures starting out around 71 degrees, 67 degrees with partly cloudy skies by 11 o'clock. So overall, things looking pretty good for the second half of the weekend. George?
Thanks, Gib. Let's take a live look at Berlin, Vermont again. When we return, an update on the investigation into 3 deaths there still underway, what we know tonight. Plus, Trump banned what the presidential billionaire said this time that got him banned from one of the largest conservative gatherings. That's coming up after the break.